Yo, we are back. Just in Anime Podcast is here with my boy Tim Barrie,
Hey,
my dope
man.
co-host. Everyone will not be joining us today. We are going out a little bit that we're going out the anime genre today because I wanted to cover and couldn't think of another topic for this week. So we are going. I got to see the show called the Amazon Prime superhero show Invincible, and starring JJ Jamerson.
It is not J. Jonah Jameson.
Jameson, man.
Actually, the actor it technically is. So
yes, that's why I said that. People know it's starring JJ Jamerson. Good old JJ as a savage. Oh my god, this is not your typical superhero show.
One thing that's really interesting about Invincible for me is that they Amazon kind of stuck in that same vein as they did with The Boys, where it takes the whole superhero like thing and kind of turns it on its head a little bit, and you see the superheroes, and they're not exactly great people. Know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard The Boys is a little different. Oh, first, sorry. Before we get into the nitty gritty, we're gonna be covering Invincible, the whole thing. So it's 8 episodes, but we're going to cram it all in an hour. It's a lot to talk about, so we will get through it. Because I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't do the first 4 episodes because all the good stuff happens after the 4 next episode.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I've only got through the first 4 episodes. Refreshed, so the last 4 I'm a little dodgy on. I'm gonna have to watch them again because I rewatched the first 4 to Resh for the show today.
Yeah.
So
all good.
Are you wanting to do it in 2 parts, or you want to do it a full?
We can do 2 parts because I want you to be refreshed.
Yeah, I think that's probably best.
Yeah, I wanted to do the whole because it's like the next 4 episodes was that's when shit just hit the fan.
Yeah. The first 4 episodes are very much all about like setting it all up. And like really getting you ready for what's coming. You know.
Oh man, the internet spoiled me on a lot of stuff. Oh, before we start. Like, share, subscribe to Just an Anime Podcast page. I'll put it in the chat. Matter of fact, I'll put the link up here. You guys can check out my YouTube page and all that good stuff. Check out the channel. We got the King and Ashura stuff on here and some other episodes that me.
We got Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen. We got some cool stuff, and we got a lot of cool like series planned for the future too. So
yeah, we definitely do. Like I said, I gotta be on it with the episodes so we can all be on point together and whatnot. We'll be doing jujitsu again, and we're definitely going back to Kangen. But like, share, subscribe to the Just an Anime Podcast page. The link is in the chat right there. So check it out. And let's get to the nitty gritty, into the meat and potatoes.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say was like to kind of give you a little background here. The comic is written by Robert Kirkman, which if you know that name, I had to actually look it up because I know the name, but like it was all just a blur for me. But he's worked, he co-created The Walking Dead, like the comics, The Walking Dead. He did Marvel Zombies, Ultimate X-Men, which Walking Dead I've read, and Ultimate X-Men I've read. I've never read Marvel Zombies, but it's supposed to be really good. So Robert Kirkman he's highly respected in the comic world. I mean, he's definitely done a lot of great work. So to see a series coming out from him like Invincible, you know it's going to be good. But the TV show,
it caught me off guard.
The TV show, man, that like that first episode is kind of a slow burn until the very end. So let's
Oh
kind of
God!
let's set it up, because I mean, when we get to that part of that episode, we're gonna want to like spend some time on it.
Like it's in the same. It's in the first episode. I'm man.
Yeah,
Yo.
and anyone here who has watched the series that's watching now or catches the stream later, you know exactly what we're talking about. But
Man, Skippity Paps specials was going
yeah,
on. I'm the
yeah.
man.
Let's back up to the very beginning, right? So when we start this episode, the very first episode, we start with two random security guards at the White House.
Yep.
And they are talking about how they have superhuman defense training coming up, and they're just kind of talking, and honestly, they spend a little more time on these two random security guards than I really thought they were going to.
Yeah,
but
wow, I was like, damn. I was like, what? Can y'all get to the?
Yeah, it was definitely something. And then for seemingly no reason, these two like giant, like monster looking dudes, drill out of the ground, and that's where we're introduced to the Mauler twins, who actually, I mean, they play into a lot of what happens in the later parts of the series.
Yeah.
And so really what that is in the story-wise is a pretext to show us the Guardians of the Globe, which is essentially
AKA knockoff Justice League.
It is the Dollar Tree Justice League.
I read they were based off of each member of the Justice League.
Yeah.
Each one of them was based off somebody.
Yeah, and when you look at them, you can tell, because you have Darkwing, who is that
was an insult to Batman.
He's basically Black Batman. I mean, that's essentially what he is. We'll call it that. You have Aquarius, something like that, who is a fish man who basically has the same powers Aquaman has. You have It's the Martian.
We got Elastic Man. We got Elastic Man because that man was made out of tape.
Yeah, he's essentially got the same powers that Elastic Man has, but he looks like Martian Manhunter.
Man, that was an insult. All these cats.
I think it was. That's the thing. I think it was supposed to be honest with you.
Like, except for the Flash.
Red Rush. And then you had the Green Ghost, which is kind of half Martian Manhunter, half Green Lantern.
I can't. She's Green Itch. You know, I was gonna say,
yeah.
I couldn't even put her in the category.
She has the phasing power that Martian Manhunter has.
Yeah.
So.
Knock off Wonder Woman.
Yeah, War Woman.
Hawk Girl.
Yeah, War Woman. Yeah, she's basically Hawk Girl and Wonder Woman. Yeah, because she's dressed, and then the Immortal. Yeah, then we meet the Immortal, and so they are handling the Mauler twins just fine. And then we are introduced to this universe's basically version of Superman.
If Superman was bad and just didn't give no shits. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
This is pretty much Superman with no weaknesses.
Yeah, that's essentially. Yeah, he's Superman with no known weaknesses. Kind of like Homelander in The Boys. The Boys has no known weakness. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, didn't know that. I didn't know
that. Yeah. So, actually, what ends up happening with that is we're introduced to Omni-Man by way of Darkwing and a innocent civilian almost being crushed by a military vehicle. And they are saved at the last minute by Omni-Man. And
insult to Batman. He could Batman whenever it gets under a tank.
Yeah, basically. And the like, I mean, basically they just hammer these two, the Mauler twins, you know what I'm talking about. They just kind of, I mean, they save the day as you know, superheroes do.
Yep.
And after the Mauler twins are arrested, I was trying to use a more fancy word, but arrested.
Yeah.
Um, we cut to our actual main hero, who is Mark, the son of Omni Man, and
Poor Mark.
it right. It feels very like it feels very Spider-Man to me, like in the way of like how he's kind of a dork and he kind of gets picked on a lot, and it just kind of shows that he
He's
has
a
a
normal
problem with
teenager.
yeah, he's a
He's got
completely normal
normal
teenager,
teenage problems.
complete with bullies and girls that don't notice him. I mean, he's your typical average teenager. The difference is that his father is the world's strongest superhero, and he's still waiting on his powers. He has no powers as of yet.
It started out weird with that. Like I was like, he doesn't have. You think he would have them? Like suddenly he was come out, hey, I got powers, and he's training, but he didn't do. It started off like slow when it came to his getting his powers.
Oh yeah, because I mean, that first interaction that we really see with him is he's bummed that he doesn't have his powers, and but he still wants to be a hero like his father. And so as he sees this girl named Amber being harassed by a dude in the hallway, he stands up to the guy.
Yo, that was Flash. That was Flash Thompson, Spider-Man.
Basically, yeah. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was Flash Thompson. His name was Todd, but he gets. I mean, Mark Grayson essentially just gets the shit kicked out of him and is only saved by a swift kick in the nuts from Amber to Todd, and that's pretty much it. But you can kind of tell that they're setting up like an interest there, like a love interest thing, because she clearly takes an interest in Mark after that.
Yeah.
But then we kind of cut to Mark at his job, and he works at Burger Mart, which is, you know,
he had one of them
whatever
McDonald's $7.25 jobs.
Right, and he's taking out the trash, and he's got these two big heavy trash bags. It takes him two hands and like a lot of force to get the first one in. And then, for no discernible reason, he just hurls the second trash bag like into space.
And it was so normal, like, oh, it finally happened. Like it was just so normal, like, oh, cool, about time. Like it was gonna take him a while to get his powers, the way it was looking.
Yeah,
like,
and it's funny because like he just he does it like he reacts to getting his powers the way that I would react to like getting my neck to pop finally, like when it's a little stiff. Like that's how he acts about it. And so like this is what I like about it so far in this first episode. What's really interesting to me about it is that you would think that it wouldn't be like your typical like hero's journey kind of setup, but it really is. I mean, it really is. It's something you've seen before, and it's something that you recognize. And I think what's brilliant about that is that what comes after all of that is so unexpected and so brutal, quite honestly.
How we getting to the part? How we getting to that part already?
Just about, because after he gets his powers, his father, who's obviously his Omni-Man, he basically starts training Mark. He teaches him how to fly. And we spend a lot of time on that. I mean, a good 10 or 15 minutes runtime of him learning how to fly and practicing how to fly and how to land properly. And that
it's kind of like how Superman learned how to fly. It took him. Superman and
very much so.
The Man of Steel. It was the Man of Steel. Yeah.
And it gets to a point where Omni-Man finally is like, let's try something new. And they start sparring a little bit as far as like hand-to-hand combat.
Is that where you get?
Because Omni-Man doesn't hold back with it and punches his son straight in the chest, like right in the sternum.
That gut punch that you do when you talk back to your parents, and they just straight give you the stuff, the gut boy, and he was just. I think he punched him, and then didn't Mark punch him at first, and then he punched him back.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Sorry, I'm dealing with the dog.
You good, Finn? Get up, Finn.
But yeah, he clocked him. He clocked him, and it really upset Mark because I guess he figured that his dad was going to go easy on him to start with, and Nolan, who is the real name of Omni-Man, basically tells him, he's like, no one in this business is going to go easy on you. And so they go home. Mark is clearly upset still, and to kind of blow off steam and like prove to himself he can do this, he goes out in like a homemade costume, like Spider-Man style.
Yeah. And that bandana and then sweatpants and then goofy goggles.
Yeah, and he stops a bank robbery. And Omni-Man finds him, and they have this conversation on top of a roof where it's your typical, you're not ready for this conversation. And Invincible, Mark, who hasn't coined himself Invincible yet, he basically is like, yes, I am. I'm ready, and I want to be as powerful as you are. And they kind of have this conversation that it really is part two superheroes talking, part a father talking to his son. And it's very interesting to watch over, these next couple episodes we're going to talk about, to see their relationship and how it like unfolds and then ultimately changes as certain things come to light.
Yeah.
And that's when Omni-Man decides to take Art Rosenbaum, who's the guy who basically the super suit guy. He's kind of like an old man, the little lady from The Incredibles.
Oh, Incredibles. Yeah, Edna. Yeah.
Edna.
It was
Edna.
Art, right?
I could think of it. Yeah, Art.
It was Edna.
And of course, he hasn't really come up with a name yet. And so I forget how he comes up with the name Invincible.
He was doing something. He was Mark was I think he was, I don't know if he did some vigilante stuff some more. There's something that happened. He was talking to somebody and he said Invincible. I think he was flying. And
you're right. He was because it's when him and Omni-Man are playing catch by standing back to back and throwing the ball all the way around the world and catching it, which was a super cool thing to watch.
I was like, I'm gonna throw it. I'm like, man, the strength.
Yeah, and his dad tells him like, teenagers, kids your age, they think they're invincible. He's like, the only different thing is that you actually are. And that's when he chooses the name Invincible, and we get to see his hero costume. And we get to see him in action just a little bit, stopping some random bad guy with a laser cannon arm. Like, nobody special.
Yeah, some goon with some goofy costume.
Yeah, and so that's when we kind of cut to the credits of the main episode, and then we get a whole post-credit sequence.
That was the longest post-credit sequence, but it's like the best.
Yeah, because
for the first episode.
It's like 10 minutes long, but we see all of the Guardians of the Globe getting alert messages to their watches telling them to meet at like the secret headquarters or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they get there, and Darkwing is the last one to show. And they're like, so why'd you call, the Immortal
Darkwing.
Actually asks him. Yeah,
Darkwing.
he asked Darkwing, why'd you call me here? And he's like, me? I didn't call anybody.
And then everybody got an alert. And if it wasn't for Red Rush, this is when we get the surprise. Red Rush, he does some Flash type stuff and looks towards bruh.
Yeah, he senses that something is off and
pushes Immortal out the way.
He pushes Immortal out of the way before Omni-Man can basically punch his head off.
Yo, and it looked like, bruh, what is going on? And it was
they're all
hands.
Yeah, he showed up ready to fight, and
he showed up ready to kill. It wasn't no fight. He was ready to kill. It wasn't gonna be no simple fight. I'm like, so it threw me off. I was like, he's here to kill the Guardians.
Yeah.
Why?
And that's
good. Yeah. Hey man, I can't even describe this brutality. I was watching Mortal Kombat, pretty much.
Yeah. And so what ends up happening to kind of start it off, he catches Red Rush, because Red Rush uses his super speed to try to like land some cheap hits on him. And Omni-Man just happens to catch him. And
Lord. The brutality.
Hey, man, he basically,
I didn't think a cartoon can be this bloody. He crushes.
We've talked about some pretty violent animes, but like this pretty much stays up with it. Like this keeps up.
This was an anime. And they show it. Man,
Red Rush.
His eyeball popped out. They showed the skin. I was like, oh.
Yeah, he essentially crushed his head like a melon.
And then everybody was like, bruh. It was whew.
The next one to die is Darkwing. He tries to attack Omni-Man from above, and Omni-Man just grabs him by his like foot and slams him.
Fake Batman. First of all, why did fake Batman? You tried. I mean, all of y'all got y'all powers, but I don't. We don't even have. Some of y'all don't even have powers. Just like, why fake Batman? Fake Batman tried to kick him.
He basically gets slammed onto the ground so hard that his brain flies out of his body. Basically,
hey man,
and then
Green Ghost tried. I don't know what she was doing because she got it next worse.
Oh, Green Ghost. Yeah, he throws Darkwing's. Yeah, he throws Darkwing's body at her. She catches it and is like, "Oh no!" And just before she can react, he just punches his whole fist through her skull.
Bruh, I couldn't imagine how she looked without the mask on.
You saw. You mean like, you mean in that moment? Okay.
Like, it was probably gonna be gory. Like, he put his whole hand through her face. Bruh. Yeah, dude. And then he uses her as a shield against Fishman.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, bruh, why?
I believe he's the next to die because War Woman tries to attack Omni-Man, and he somehow gets a hold of her like mace that she carried and just smashed his head in with it.
Oh, he stuffed her in the ground first. Hey, then as he's doing it, he stuffed her in the ground.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he just kind of like head plants her.
And and then he got the salmon special on the side with some he canned him. I said, oh, even though he was a big dude, I'm like, you got some lifelike body parts, and that was nasty. Like the brutality's not done yet. And then who do you get next?
I believe it was the Martian.
He got it. See, his death wasn't that bad. Like, he was made of elastic. You just ripped his heart out, and it was just like they showed him turning into paper bags after it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he tries to ensnare him, like tries to wrap him up, and Omni-Man basically manages to reach his hand up to where the Martian's like exposed heart was and just ripped it right out.
Oh, before that, Warhammer was like, told Immortals like he wouldn't do this. What's going on? And
someone must be controlling him.
And at this point, we don't give a damn. And she said it's either him or us. And of course, we're gonna choose us. We're not about to die. Hey man, I just felt like they was just outclassed. Y'all were fighting these
big time
on the earth.
Yeah,
they was giving him the work for a second. They was giving him the hands when they snared him. They was up there punching the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm. The last two to go down are War Woman, who gets her head basically snapped all the way around, and the Immortal. And the last thing the Immortal really says is he's just like, "Why? Why did you do this?" And Omni-Man literally slaps his head off of his body.
Yeah, man. He didn't never explain. He just, hey, I just can't y'all with no remorse. It was just, I'm just here to kill all y'all, and that's it. Yo, that was wild.
It was. And then due to exhaustion and injury, Nolan, Omni-Man, he basically just falls into a coma after that, and that's the end of episode 1.
So pretty much,
and that's the end of episode 1.
Look, they were Guardians for one episode.
They got waxed. They got waxed hard.
Like, I was like, oh, I didn't know he killed them in the first. Because I went to sleep when I watched it. I was at my mom's and I had my daughter, and I was rocking her to sleep. And I skipped the episode. I watched a couple episodes after that, and then after that, I was looking at I said, oh. As there's another episode where they showed the Guardians' bodies. We're not there yet, but I'm like, he killed them in the first episode?
Yeah, that's actually in, I believe, episode 2, actually, which we're about to go into. We kind of start that episode, I believe, with that, where Cecil, the old man who runs the Global Defense Agency, discovers it, and he's got all his men there, because GDA is in this. The Global Defense Agency is essentially like S.H.I.E.L.D. for all intents and purposes.
Pretty much, yeah. And he was Nick Fury.
And so, yeah, he's basically Nick Fury, and he's got this dude with him named Donald, who Donald basically looks like Bobby Hill from King of the Hill. That's basically it.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but it kind of it basically shows them discovering what's going on. They try to they get Omni-Man out of there, who's currently in a coma. They don't know that he's the one that did it. All they know is that he's the only one that survived. Well, presumably because they take the Immortal's head and put it into some like cryo storage thing or something to preserve his head. But everyone else is just screwed. I mean, they're eviscerated. There's no way you're going to bring them back to life.
I mean, the power of friendship could have healed them.
Don't even start with me with that.
Friendship could have healed them.
Right. But this is like what they're, they kind of show what the GDA is doing to, like, preserve the immortal and try to save Omni-Man. And around that same time, if I remember right, while Mark is visiting his father in the hospital, the Flaxens show up, which are like this interdimensional alien race, kind of like the Shatari from Avengers 1.
Oh,
Is that what they were called? The Shatari?
Oh,
I think that's what they were called.
No, you're talking about. I know you're talking about. I forgot what they were. Let me look it up. I forgot what they were actually called.
It may not be the Shatari. I don't know where I'm getting that from, but that's what came to my brain. What?
That sounds like X-Men.
That could be.
That sounds like X-Men. Yeah.
Like, and this is all stuff I should know, but my brain's just not bringing it to the forefront of my mind. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. The Flaxens essentially do battle with this universe's version of the Teen Titans called the Teen Team, and that's when we
laziest name.
Yeah, super lazy. But the Teen Team, you don't really. I don't think you learn their names quite yet, but you have Duplicate, who is like a girl that can create duplicates of herself.
I'm not gonna lie, some of their powers is kind of whack. It wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, she basically has the same powers, from what I can discern, that Multiple Man has in X-Force. I think he's in X-Force.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have Rexplode, who's a total douchebag.
His powers kind of trash too. He was definitely.
Yeah, trash. And then you have Robot, who's the team leader, and Adam Eve, who, in the middle of the fight, the Flaxens retreat. They rapidly age and retreat, to which, like, Robot, using his abilities, discerns that because of the fact that they come from another dimension, they are able to, like, they're not able to stay in our dimension very long without rapidly aging. He explains it, but it's a lot of mumbo jumbo. I don't really know. But Mark actually recognizes Adam Eve as a girl he goes to school with. And so now we're actually kind of starting to set up a dilemma through dialogue and stuff where at some point he's going to have to make a choice between Amber or Eve, because both women seem kind of interested in him. But then we learn relatively quickly that Adam Eve is actually dating Rexplode. Yeah.
Yeah. Big bag, Larry.
Yeah. And so all of that happens, and in the middle of all that, the Flaxens attack again. And again, the Teen Team, with Invincible's help, is able to send them back to whatever dimension they came from. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, they're both pretty short fights, because in the first fight, the Flaxens don't know they can't stay in our dimension without rapidly aging. And then when they figure out how to do so, Robot is able to disable it with a frequency that basically disables all their equipment, and so they have to retreat again. So if I remember correctly, through all of this, you have Mark, who is basically making time, going back and forth, visiting his father, who's still in a coma. But I think he wakes up right around this time, like right after Adam, Eve, and Mark become friends, and they share their secret identities with each other, so that all happens. Right around then, Nolan wakes up, Omni-Man, I guess, and wakes up, and they're just kind of, they actually are a pretty normal family for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we didn't know about is that there is a character who I actually really enjoy, named Damien Darkblood, who is
He was pretty much like Hellboy and
he's basically Hellboy. Yeah,
yeah.
he's very much like Hellboy, but he's like a detective from hell who is trying to figure out who killed the Guardians of the Globe, because at this point, it's not public knowledge that the Guardians are dead. Nobody really knows that yet. What's that?
That was like it was so obvious, but it wasn't who actually did it.
Yeah, well, it should have been. It should have been, but it's
you had to drag it out to make it suspenseful.
Yeah, and because in that universe, nobody would ever suspect Omni-Man of doing that. And in the same way that is, if this were like DC Comics, it would be unthinkable to think that Superman would do something like this. And so that's how you get that. But to kind of finish this all off, there is a while they're visiting in the hospital, excuse me, Cecil shows up. The Nick Fury, basically.
Mm-hmm,
he shows up as Nolan's recuperating, and he tells the he tells the Grayson, the whole family, that something's coming, and so he shows it on the computer screen, and it's like this alien flying through deep space. And instead of Nolan going, he sends Mark. He's like, you can handle it. He's like, just punch him a couple of times and throw him back where he came from. It'll be fine. And that's how we meet.
Sound so simple, which it was. Like he didn't really.
Yeah.
But I feel like he already knew Nolan pretty much. If he would have went, it'd have been a little different.
Yeah, and that's how we meet a character named Alan the Alien, who is working for what's called the Coalition of Planets. Now, we don't really know anything about them yet, but he basically explains that, like, he comes every so often to see if there's still anyone capable of protecting the planet, and apparently they do this for planets all over the universe. But as he's talking to Mark telepathically, because they're sitting on the frickin' moon.
Yeah.
He finds out that he actually is on the wrong planet. He came to the wrong planet because he read the orders wrong. And so basically he's like, oh crap, well, I'll see you around if they don't fire me first. And then he just takes off back into space. So if we ever see him again, I don't remember, to be honest.
We do see him. He does pop up again. Very important. It'll be very important. It's when we get to the end.
Yeah, because it's been a while since I watched all 8 episodes of season 1. So I actually forgot, but basically the episode 2 ends with a character that up till now we haven't really talked about, which is Debbie, who is Omni-Man's wife and Invincible's mom.
Yeah,
And she's up working. Yeah, she's up working late, and Damien Darkblood shows up in their house.
Because it was so how he showed up. Because like everything froze, like it started getting cold when it showed up.
And apparently that's a thing that happens whenever he's around. Like her laptop screen freezes over. So I'm gonna let you talk for a minute because my throat is like on fire.
Oh, you're good. And yeah, he shows up trying to still find clues, and it didn't sit right with him. That I like how the way he talked, like the way he said the word, like the way he talked was a little funny. He was like,
"Well,
the clues not adding up." Like he would say stuff like,
I think I was through my research. I was actually reading. I think they based his speech patterns off of Rorschach from The Watchmen.
Yeah, okay, he talked familiar. I was like, he talked really funny, and basically he didn't. The whole murder thing didn't sit right. Like it should have been obvious, but your husband. And then I know they interrogated him, but he was like, clues don't add up. Husband, only person alive, even though he got his ass beat. Somewhat.
Yeah.
Still alive, and then I think he ended up leaving because Omni-Man came home, and everything disappeared. And then I think I forgot what happened. I should have
I remember we left something out. Is that the Flaxens come back one last time?
And that part.
Yeah, and Omni-Man chases them off, and instead of chasing them off, he goes into the portal they came out of. And basically destroys their planet.
Oh no! But do you remember what he said before he did that? Your Earth is not yours to conquer. Like it wasn't hey, don't come back to Earth. Nah, this is not your planet, bruh. And he, the savagery, the main alien dude that got messed up by marking them, he messed him all the way up. He went around the whole planet within seconds and demolished it.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that is that they explain that because their dimension moves slower than what ours did, it only seems like Omni-Man's gone for a little while, like a few minutes. But in the portal where he's at, it's like 6 months.
Yeah, because he grew that damn goatee out.
Yeah, he has like a full beard when he gets home.
And then it was just like normal because Debbie was like, yeah, he's gonna go talk to them and make sure everything's okay. And wouldn't. And then an insult to injury after he blew up the plane, he drops a rock on their ass and then leaves.
Oh yeah, he kills everybody on the planet.
Ass motor. I'm like,
destroys the entire planet.
The freaking man, the savagery of Omni-Man. Like it was already bad enough that he killed the Guardians the way he did. But this planet, I mean, he slaughtered them and they were coming back. Cool, but damn, like oh crap, good lord, that's not no Superman. It's like he's not. This like I said, this ain't no typical superhero. He's not your typical run-of-the-mill
not at all
Superman type of guy. Drops a rock and leaves, and then comes back home. Was like, yeah, I'm taking a shower.
Yeah, well, and that's when and the way that episode ends is with Omni-Man coming home from that whole thing, and I think that they have the TV on, and the news reporter's like, I don't even know how to say this, but the Guardians of the Globe are dead.
Hey, man,
and that's how the episode cuts off.
He played that off so well. Like,
keep talking. I'm gonna get some water. I got a frog in my throat. I'll be right back.
All good. Sorry guys. Let me get the. I doubt my picture is gonna come up. Lord. Yeah. So far this series, I'm liking this. I love this series so far. The first 4 episodes were godlike. We're definitely good. It's not even anime, and the stuff's good. Very, very good. And like I said, I was very surprised on how good Invincible really was.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, no, I heard what you were saying, and what's interesting about it though is that the storytelling and a lot of things about it, you can draw parallels to anime.
True, yeah, it can definitely. Like I said it'll have some anime aspects of it.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to cover these last two episodes, and I'll kind of chime in because I've been talking for a long
Oh
time, and my voice is just going to give out.
yeah, I'm oh god, my recap is about to be horrid. I'm not gonna lie, I feel bad. Y'all gonna be like, this dude don't know what he's talking about. So
Well, it starts with the Guardian's funeral. I know
yeah, the
that.
Guardian's funeral. I remember that part. So the Guardian's funeral, everybody, it's here's about the Guardians of the Globe getting killed. Don't know how. We all know how, but everything. Shit. I was gonna say. They go to the funeral. They talk about how good the Guardians were, and basically, the Omni Man shows up to give his speech, and I was looking like, man, this dude trash.
He's cold blooded. Yeah.
Bruh, he went to go talk, was like, yeah, the Guardians were good people and they fought alongside me, accepted me when I came. Because we didn't get a little backstory. We gotta get the backstory of Omni Man, the version told Mark. So Omni Man is from Viltrum.
Yeah.
He's from Viltrum, and he told Mark, we don't get the real reason why he's here. Viltrum, he came from Viltrum, planet with superhumans like him. And he's told Mark, yeah, we go help other planets, weaker planets that need our help. Yeah. And yeah, I got sent to Earth to be its Earth's protector. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Why not, Omni Man? And I was like, I already heard the story about it. I'm like, you lying. But I didn't know I heard the whole thing. And I'm like, yeah, sure. But hey, he's not going to tell us some of the truth of why he's really there.
Of course not.
But yeah, he told us about the Guardians, how they accepted him, and he wasn't, because he wasn't actually a Guardian. He come help, but he didn't want to be part of the Guardians for his own reasons of why he's really there, which we'll get to later. And as the funeral goes on, everything happens. Now Cecil has initiated pretty much have Robot find replacement Guardians of the globe, reassemble pretty much the Guardians of the globe. Because we still have Omni Man, but we know why. Yeah, we know why. The real reason for that. So after that, I know they do the training. I feel bad because now it's a blur because the episode is so long, and I watched it in the past couple of days. It was 47 minutes, and I usually remember a lot of stuff. Oh man.
Well, during the whole Guardian's funeral, they actually go to a separate location where no one else knows where the Guardians are actually buried.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They do go to the funeral. I forgot. Okay, they go to the funeral,
and we see the Red Rush's wife Olga is, she's distraught naturally because her husband's.
And I wouldn't even have the bodies like you. I'm glad. I hope they didn't get to show the bodies because they were just nothing. They weren't bodies anymore.
Well, that's what she said. She can't see him, and they wouldn't let her see him. There's a whole thing about it.
Oh yeah.
And then
because that was
and after the bodies are interred in the ground, Omni Man comes in contact with Damien Darkblood.
Yeah.
And he kind of not so like tacitly implies that he thinks that Omni Man killed them, which Omni Man gets really mad about.
Oh yeah, he goes to his office. I think he does come to the funeral. I forgot just to see, like, try to talk to him still because Cecil he talked to Omni Man and Omni Man's gonna lie like, yeah, I didn't do it. Basically, what he told them was he got the distress call, goes to the base, it goes dark, he gets jumped, then he's in the hospital.
Yes.
That's what
And
he told. That's what he told Cecil, and Damien's not buying that, like at all.
Yeah, he's not buying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Robot is tasked with picking a new Guardians of the Globe, and after some tryouts, picks his new roster.
Pretty
and
much
most of them, a lot of them are the team. But there's a few new characters introduced. Shrinking Ray and
3
Monster Man.
Monster Girl.
Oh yeah, Monster Girl and Black Sam.
Yeah, he was on. Now, thank God, of events, he got his powers taken. He lost his powers, and because he was part of the original Guardians of the Globe. So thank God he wasn't there when the massacre happened, because he could have been dead too. So
yeah,
he wasn't present when that happened, and he taught about the Guardians. So now they have to learn about teamwork, and the teamwork part comes in. Yeah.
Meanwhile, we kind of cut back to Mark himself, who now has a study date with Amber from school.
Yep.
And right in the middle of it, he ends up having to go to Mount Rushmore with Adam Eve to stop a villain named Dr. Seismic.
Oh, yeah, you can make tremors and earthquakes and crap. Yeah, him.
Yeah. And Amber still stays because she doesn't know what's going on. And after they get back, Mark is hanging in his room with Amber, and we don't really know what he's doing yet. And Adam Eve, she actually walks in on her boyfriend Rexplode with Duplicate. All 3 of her.
Duplicates. My man was getting butt cheeks on butt cheeks. He was in the of all 3.
Yeah. And so out of she just kind of storms out.
Yeah.
And later on, Rex tries to apologize to her, but it doesn't go well. And so Adam Eve goes to Mark's house, but finds him with Amber, and then she just kind of takes off before he notices that she's there.
Yeah.
And the next thing, possibly the last thing we see in this episode, because again, it jumps around a lot.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Can I say this? Can we do the rest? We'll finish off here. I'm going to go back and watch episode 4 and beyond.
Yeah.
I did horrible on this. Like, it was so much, and I thought I was going to remember. So I'm glad I only did 4. We did 4 episodes. But crap, it was so much happening in these 4 episodes.
The only thing that we will leave it off on is the Mahler twins from the very first part of episode 1. They escaped from prison with someone who we don't know yet, with their help.
Yep. Unknown alias broke them out for their own specific reasons.
Yeah. So, you want to leave it there for tonight?
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I did a horrible job of this review. I remember anime very well, but these 4, and we've done 20 episodes. We've done 20 chapters of anime, and I remember it quite well. But this was a lot.
Yeah, they throw a lot at you.
In 47 minutes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
47 minutes. So we will continue off. We will pick up next week. Hopefully Ev can join us next week. We have to see the time when everybody's Monday through Thursday, I'm free.
Cool.
So we'll pick up, and then we'll have Ev join us too for the rest of it.
Sounds good.
So sorry, guys. My brain is horrible. On remembering stuff from this series, but it was a great series nonetheless. I finished it last night. Lord, whew, remember that? Jesus, all that stuff that happened in the last 4 episodes.
Yeah,
The last episode, pretty much. The last 2 episodes was wild.
Mm-hmm.
But we will pick up next week. Like, share, subscribe to the anime podcast, to Just an Anime Podcast. Like I said, links in the description. I said we will pick up, and I'll have a better memory when we do this again. Because Lord, it was a lot. I have to go back and recap. So start
It
from
is a
episode
lot.
4 and on to the rest of it. It's 8 episodes. So pretty much you get 3 episodes. So it'll be 5 more left.
Yeah,
So,
and I think we can get through that pretty well.
no, we definitely can. Yeah, like I said, I'll watch it again, and man, it was it was horrible. But like, share, subscribe to the Just an Anime Podcast page. Links in this description, and check out my YouTube page as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Probably like, this dude's trash. He didn't even say there's a lot of stuff he missed. I'm like, I tried, y'all. Like I said, it was a lot for 47 minutes. Still good. Like, I'm gonna have to go recap it and refresh it in my brain again. So come back to us next week. One of the days next week, we will let you guys know. And you guys have a good night. Enjoy your weekend, and peace and chicken grease.